Hey guys, this is Zach Hutchinson with Continuing Hope, and this is Breaking the Stigma. I've got a special guest in the studio this morning. This is Scott Van Duker. Scott, how you doing this morning?
Doing good.
Doing good. Well, I sure do appreciate you coming in and talking to us this morning. Before we get started, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor. It is Fowler Heating and Cooling, located at 423 South Court Street in Marion, Illinois. Their number is 997-5288. If you need anything done with heating and cooling, give Steve a call. He'll take care of you. All right, so let's get right into it. Scott, if you will just introduce yourself, tell me, a little bit about you, your age, what you do for a living. We spoke a little bit about you going to school. Tell me a little bit about that, where you're at right now.
I'm 33 years old. I got two kids. Finishing my degree in heating and air, and
Nice.
probably going to that field once I'm done. I did 6 years in the military. I was deployed for a year in Afghanistan in Helmand Province. Uh, seen a lot of combat. More than I'd
Yeah,
like to.
I remember seeing your video at Dr. Garwin, and that was one of the main things you talked about was that you saw a lot of combat. Now, what age were you whenever you joined the military? Did you go straight out of high school or?
Yeah, I joined in '06.
'06. And were
And
you
that's the year I graduated.
okay? So you were 18.
Yeah.
So with an 18-year-old mind, we know that our minds aren't fully developed until I can't remember what year they say it is, but
40.
yeah, probably we're probably not fully developed yet because we're guys. But I know at 18 years old, I didn't join the military. I was not mentally prepared for that at all. When I was 18, I felt like a kid, and I'm sure you did too. So getting over there and getting through your basic training and doing all that, how long after that until you actually saw some combat? I mean, was it pretty much immediate or?
I joined in '06. I deployed in '08, and when we got over there and got our orders and went down to Helmand Province, it pretty much immediately.
Yeah, pretty much
I mean,
immediate combat.
That part of the country was probably one of the worst spots to be in Afghanistan.
What year was this? This was in '08?
'08, '09.
Okay. And what was the area? The
Helmand Province.
Helmand Providence. Okay. And for people listening and for me, what was going on there? What was the actual purpose for you guys being there? If you can.
We mentored the Afghan National Police.
Okay.
So we trained them, set up checkpoints, basically just mentored them and taught them how to, take care of themselves and
Basically be like the American military. Basically just try to be the best.
yeah.
Right?
The first month we were there, we many firefights, probably dug up countless IEDs in the middle of the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the worst crap you can imagine. We weren't on a fob. We were in the middle of nowhere with just 13 guys and
Right.
no other American presence.
Right.
We did some missions with the Brits that were out there,
Yeah.
but other than that, we were by ourselves.
And dude, that's scary stuff. You're 20 at this time.
Yeah.
Because you graduated in '06, you're 18. Within 2 years, you see full-blown combat, right? I can't imagine. When I was 20, I was just about to get hired at Illinois Department of Corrections. I was trying my best to do that. But I remember when you were joining the military, I was doing telemarketing. You know what I mean? And as you were in the military, I was working at restaurants and doing things so I could get on at the prison. So I do respect you and I do appreciate your service. That's awesome that you went in, straight like that out of high school. And you said you were deployed over there for how long in this home in Providence?
A year.
You were there for 1 year. Okay. And so you came home in 2009, 2010?
Yeah, we got back towards the end of '09.
Towards the end of '09. How long were you in after that?
I got out in 2012.
Okay.
I was gonna sign up and go longer, but ended up having my kids, so
Yeah.
I decided to get out and take care of them.
I understand that. So I wanted to ask you, you've went overseas, you've came back, you've had kids. At what point did you start having the PTSD? And kind of explain to us. You don't have to go into full details, but what did you exactly have? Were you having more flashback type PTSD? Were you having more depression, anxiety? What was going on there?
When I got back, I mean, when I got back from Afghanistan, all I wanted to do really is, I mean, it just didn't feel right being home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
How so?
It's just one of those things where you just feel like you don't fit in. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
You've been conditioned to a certain.
Yeah, when you go from, looking over your shoulder and watching out from getting shot at or blown up, and then you're sitting here, you don't know what to do. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I would just drink constantly.
Mm-hmm. To try to self-medicate
for the longest time, and then drinking from when you wake up to go to sleep, pass out, wake up and do it all over again, and then started doing hard drugs, and basically didn't care whether I lived or died.
Right.
I wasn't didn't really necessarily want to go kill myself, but I didn't care if I woke up the next day either.
Right.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
So all I did was drink and do drugs and kind of just try to wash the pain away.
Kind of try to self-medicate.
Drown it out. And
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
What did that do for you? Was that able to? And the reason I'm asking is because I abuse alcohol too for what I have going on, and sometimes that's the only thing get me out of my head, but it's also sometimes the thing that destroys me, and I have to be careful. You know what I mean? So what did that do to you? Were you able to control that, or did that become a problem for you?
I mean, if I was constantly drunk, I didn't think about it. It didn't bother me.
Yeah, you're out of your head. Yeah,
it's when you sober up, or then
next morning taking a shower, thinking about it. So it eventually just took over your life. You drinking all the time, and okay. So at what point did you decide that you had to stop doing that and you needed to go to say you see Morgan Gant?
I do.
At Integrated Health. Okay, shout out to Morgan Gant. Love her. Everybody that uses her loves her. She's the best in the area, hands down.
She's great.
So when did you start to see her, and how did that all happen with your alcohol and dependency that you had going on?
Well, I drank for many years, and then I tried doing substance abuse, alcohol abuse, counseling, all sorts of medications and stuff through the VA that just either made stuff worse, made me feel worse. Countless medications, antidepressants, where it just messes with your brain, and I'd wake up in my car with a bottle, not knowing what the hell just happened. You know? And,
because some of that stuff is very dangerous to drink with.
Yeah. And then a couple years ago, someone told me about Morgan, and I went to go see her, and we did that gene site test. And, it didn't take as long to find certain medications that would help.
Yeah.
Kind of, get on track. Helped a little bit. And then she introduced me, she told me about Dr. Garwin and sent me the videos that he had done and that procedure. And she referred me over to him. And that was last year.
Yeah, you were one of the first stellates, if not the first, weren't you? In Garwin's office? I thought that when I was talking to you, you gave me the date that you went in, and I was trying to go back to when he opened it. Seems like you were one of the first ones. And going back to the gene site, I want to explain to everybody what a gene site is. Scott mentioned that he took a gene site test. What that is, it's also referred to as a psychotropic gene test. And what that is, it's a cheek swab that will basically tell the doctors what medicines metabolize with your body and which ones don't. I had several on my red list that I had tried, and Scott and I were talking before the podcast. He also had a lot on his red list, so it's able to really determine what medicines may work for you. It's not a guaranteed thing, but if you listen to my last podcast, Morgan Gant was explaining that and how it is. It really narrows things down for medication. It sounds like it did pretty good for you.
Oh yeah.
You're able to get off that stuff that gives you terrible side effects. I mean, did you ever have brain zaps? Did you ever have that? I had that terribly from Abilify. I mean, I would wake up with a knot on my head because I had banged my head against the headboard because I would just have one of those brain zaps and it caused my head to move, in the middle of the night. And that was one that was on my red list. I was like, God, if I knew that before, I never would have put that stuff in my body, So Morgan told you about Dr. Garwin. When you went to your, I know Dr. Garwin usually has, before you ever go, he has an appointment that he likes to sit down with you. He likes to ask you your background. He likes to ask you this kind of stuff. How did that go? Did he ever mention ketamine IV infusions with you, or did you go straight to the PTSD treatment?
I don't think we ever talked about the ketamine. I think I went straight
to
for
it.
the injection.
Okay. And you said you watched videos. Did you watch the 60-minute video?
Yeah.
Anybody listening to the podcast, if you go on YouTube and search stellate ganglion block 60 minutes, very good little clip on there that Dr. Garwin has sent me and Scott both. It just shows guys waking up, in a totally different mind frame. And we were talking about that before the podcast. Before we get to that, you said you went in and you had your discussion. I'm sure you took the PTSD test.
I did.
That he has there. For people who don't know, Dr. Garwin also offers a test that will tell you if you qualify for the stellate ganglion block. I took that test, scored really, really high. I'm assuming you did too. And that's probably why you didn't get the ketamine IV infusion talk, is because your PTSD was so high. So you went in, you had that. He went immediately into that. And what was he saying to you? Was he pretty positive? Was he thinking he could really help you, or what did he say to you?
Yeah, he was pretty. He talked to me about the procedure and how much he think it would help. Explained what it did, and as much stuff as I've tried in the past, I figured, what's it gonna hurt to try something new?
Yeah.
And after having it done, I'm very happy that Morgan told me about it, and then I set up that appointment and actually went and got it done.
Yeah. It's an amazing procedure, and I had quite a different response to it, I think, than you did. We were talking before the show, and I was telling Scott that whenever I woke up, it took me 3 days to feel the effects. Now, I don't know if that was from anesthesia. I don't know if it just works on different body types. But tell me how you felt whenever you woke up. Oh, and you went under anesthesia as well.
I did.
Dr. Garwin has told me some guys choose to not do the anesthesia. Well, I saw the needle, and I was like, "You're putting me under." So I didn't want anything to do with it.
I don't know how I'd feel about not being put under.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, that big needle in the neck. But, for anybody listening that might be freaked out about what I just said, you don't have to be, because it is full anesthesia. You go under, you don't even know it. The only thing, like, there's a little red dot there the rest of the day where the needle went in. You can't even feel it.
Yeah, it's not a bad procedure at all. It takes like 15 minutes. And when you wake up, you got a little bit of a sore throat, but...
Yeah, was your eye drooping too?
My whole side of my face and stuff was numb, but it wasn't bad at all. Like, when the first one I had done, before I was even fully awake, I was basically smiling, telling them all thank you, and I guess almost in tears from being happy.
That's amazing.
And relieved. Man. And then when, and that was before I was even fully awake.
Yeah.
And then when I, was awake, again, just nothing but smiles and
Just thrilled.
thanking them all, and
Yeah.
just wondering like, what is this I'm feeling? Like,
Yeah, exactly. And why didn't I get this before? And it's crazy because I was talking to another combat vet about this procedure, and when I was telling him how good it worked, and I was telling him about Dr. Garwin, and I told him to look it up and everything, and he went to one of his counselors that he was seeing, and his counselor said that she had never heard of it, and it seemed a little skeptical to her, and he decided not to do it. You know, I really wish people wouldn't be skeptical about this, because there are hundreds and hundreds of medical reports on this. I was telling Scott before the show too, the reason they found out that a stellate worked, it was an accident. They gave a guy a block for some pain in his arm, and they found out, long story short, they found out it was going to work for that. So they've been doing that for a while now. You know, it's new to our area, but it's not a new procedure. You know, same way at the ketamine IV infusions, I've heard people say, well, why would you do that? That's a street drug. No, Special K is a street drug. That was the club drug back years ago you heard about. That's not at all the same kind of ketamine. You don't go in there and get high. You don't go in there and catch a buzz. It's literally, you're almost asleep for that too. I mean, the ketamine makes you so tired. I don't remember any of my ones I did. But I do know that the procedures work. And just hearing you say that you woke up feeling good with anesthesia is amazing, because, you know, a lot of these guys, it takes some hours for the anesthesia to wear off, and you're saying like you had immediate results.
Oh yeah, it was mind-blowing to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially with most veterans know how the VA is, and how much they beat around the bush per se.
Okay.
Because the VA even did studies about this. You know,
I
put
saw that on their
millions of
website.
dollars into it.
Yeah.
Just to be like, oh, well, we're just gonna stick with
I saw that.
giving vet
Yep.
pills. You know.
Yep.
When in reality, why not do the better thing?
Exactly. And see, that's the reason I started Continuing Hope, was because, and I don't have anything against the VA. I wasn't a vet, so I don't know anything about them.
And not only that, like just like the gene site test, the VA, they've known about that.
They don't offer that either?
No,
The VA
I
doesn't?
mean, the first time I ever heard about it was through Morgan,
Wow.
which is crazy because instead of pumping people full of drugs that you don't know what's going to happen, why not take 10 minutes to literally 30 seconds to swab a cheek and send the results into, to reduce the medication by what, 80% almost?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just that could save a bunch of people, because,
Yeah.
pumping a bunch of vets full of pills that are going to have a worst effect on them.
Yeah. I mean, some of this stuff, some of the antipsychotics, I mean, I've taken a lot of them. They really mess with your mind, man. And I mean, I can imagine, like I've said on this show before, I didn't have any trauma. I've just got a major chemical imbalance in my head. It just is what it is. But you've had actual, I mean, I would assume terrible things you've seen, that you've went through. And, it's amazing how I would consider any vet that's been in combat way worse off than me. And they say not to compare your PTSD to somebody else, because it's different. A little old lady that's 90 might have gotten in a car accident and she's got PTSD, and it's just as serious to her as it is to you. But
Exactly.
I always think the vets, hey, you guys have seen some stuff, and it amazes me that with your mind being that bad, and the alcohol abuse and the drugs and all that stuff that you got through, that were essentially making you worse, and then you found out about this procedure, and now you're on a whole new life.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, how has it changed your life as far as, like, do your kids notice? Do your family members notice? I mean, do they think you're a different person, or how do they feel about it?
I mean, after the first injection I had, I mean, within, being out in public, a couple weeks after I had it done, people just looked at me and was like, you seem different. You seem a lot happier. You just you're smiling.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know,
It's nice to have that back.
And it definitely is. It's good to have people notice a change, and especially with having kids,
Mm-hmm.
they definitely are the reason I'm still here, and
Yeah.
for me to be able to smile and actually enjoy life and
Mm-hmm.
being with them, it's definitely a life changer.
It's
I
priceless.
can wake up and not feel like when I look in the mirror like, who the fuck is this guy?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know what you mean, man. I've hated the guy in the mirror for years. And it's funny you said that because ever since I started this charity, I don't really look in the mirror that way anymore. And part of that is because of the procedures I went through. Um, like you said, it does change our lives. Um, I had a real self doubt issue. And see, I know you and I have only known each other for a short period of time, but I'm a very type A personality, very confident. I've ran businesses, been successful. I am usually pretty confident in myself. But at the same time, dude, nobody knew that, like I said, I hated that guy in the mirror. And it seemed like ever since I got my stellates, I don't have that self doubt anymore. I have more of a. I tell my wife all the time. I said I see things a lot clearer now. It's like before I got my shots, everything was kind of clouded by all this other stuff in my head. I had all these doubts. I had all these, and that's not me. This happened over a period of 2 years. I just went downhill for 2 years, and I got to where I was like, man, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do it. Just so much self doubt, man. And I was like, where is this coming from? I've never really had this or whatever. And it's like the shot took me back to normal. It's like after all that self doubt, I got these shots, and now I'm just right back to normal. And then since I've opened this charity, and I have seen the outpour of support from the community, and even guys like you that are vets that are stepping up and saying, "Hey, this works." I had this done. It just means a ton to me. And I just love the story that you said you woke up and you were thanking everybody because when I woke up the last time from mine, and we were talking about the side effects, there really are no side effects. And that's what I thought was really cool because I expected to have something. I mean, when you go in for a procedure, you expect to have something. They're going to give you some sheets and say, go home and sit on the couch. And it was like, you get your shot. As soon as your anesthesia is done, you go right back to normal and do whatever you want. And I'm kind of impressed that you were thanking them and stuff because, like, the last time I woke up, the medicine that they put in had ran down to my vocal cords, and I felt like I couldn't swallow.
Yes.
I was freaking out. I was like, Dr. Garwin, I need a piece of candy. He brought me a piece of candy, and he's like, you can swallow. But I was thinking I couldn't. But literally, man, no side effects, no numbness, no soreness, no anything. Just a shot in the neck. Anybody with PTSD or like a treatment resistant depression qualifies for this. Now I think any vets listening to the show, you qualify. I mean, if you've been in the military, I'm sure Dr. Garwin, if you go see him and take his test, you qualify. If you're not a vet and you're not under care, you don't qualify. You have to be under the care of some kind of a physician. And I know that he checks medications. He goes through your list, what you've been on. Dr. Garwin is an anesthesiologist and has been for 40 years, but he has studied. I've heard people say, well, he's not a mental health doctor, so what does he know about this? I can tell you, he knows everything about this because he has studied this and studied this and studied this, and he's got reports in his office. He's told me things, that if anybody has a doubt, to just come over, and he said he'll show them 30. I don't remember what he said, 30 medical journals or something that he's got on this procedure. Bottom line of it is, guys, is it works. Scott's proof that it works. So where do you go from here? Do you feel like you go back in for a procedure sometime or another? I mean, do you feel like you can? Because Garwin always just explains this as a bridge. Is that the way he explained it to you?
Yeah.
That a stellate is a bridge to get you from one point to another. So in other words, if you're on medication and it's not working, you can get a stellate, get new medication, and then that's supposed to carry you through. What are your next steps? How are you going to combat this?
I actually just had my second one not too long ago.
Okay.
Probably 5-6 months after my first one.
Oh, 5 or 6 months.
So
Wow.
it lasted a lot longer. I didn't expect it to last long at all because most stuff I've done before,
Yep.
A few days I'll get relief.
It's
and
quick.
then,
Yeah.
But it lasted for a good 5-6 months, and then I didn't get as low as I was previous, but I could see myself getting depressed and having all this stuff come back to me. So and he's real good. He would message me from time to time asking me how I'm doing. A month after, 3 months after.
He does. He texts people, man. He's great.
And I'm not. I mean, ever since I had it done, like you said, I've felt like a different person, more outgoing, because I used to be real quiet, kept everything to myself.
Right.
And after I did it, I did that interview for him, just so I could, share with vets, like today, how great it is and how different of a feeling you have inside.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all gone, but you just feel the weight of the world just lift off of you. I mean, you feel like you're just floating on a cloud. It's a great feeling to be somewhat in control of yourself and relieved.
Yeah.
And, wanting to wake up and enjoy the day rather than throw it away.
Yeah, rather than just wake up and start drinking and And it's crazy how it just opens your eyes to things. I love the way you described it. That's the best. I couldn't describe it any better than you just did. But it really does just open your eyes to things. It just gives you back the peace of mind, I think.
Oh yeah.
It just gives you back your peace of mind. And I really, really want to emphasize that, if you are having trouble, if you're a vet, you have PTSD and you're having trouble with this, get a hold of us, continuinghope.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com, Continuing Hope Fund, / Continuing Hope Fund. You can donate right there. We have several vets right now in need of treatment. I spoke with Dr. Garwin last week. There's several vets needing treatment right now, guys. We are looking for monetary donations to assist them. We're going to try to help about 5 this month, I think. So definitely, if you can, go to our sites, help us out. Steve Fowler has sponsored the podcast today with Fowler Heating and Cooling. He's at 423 South Court Street in Marion. Phone number is 997-5288. If you have any problems with anything heating and cooling, Steve will get you taken care of. And I just want to thank you for coming on, man. I got you a shirt. I did want to hand you off a shirt here, one of our Continuing Hope shirts that we just had made. I want to give that to you for being on the show. And, buddy, I appreciate your service. And thanks for coming on. And I know some guys might be a little uncomfortable talking about this stuff, but I appreciate you coming on. And
it's my pleasure.
And being comfortable.
Definitely want to get the word out there and help anybody that, needs it, who's afraid to try or to look into something else, because it's an amazing procedure.
Yep.
And it's definitely something to look into.
And it changed your life.
Oh yeah,
changed your kids' lives, and that's more important than anything.
I mean, I don't even have the urge to really drink anymore. Like I've tried going out and having a few drinks, but I don't even care to drink much anymore.
If you're not trying to hide it, if you're not trying to drink yourself out of something, there's not near as much of a, like if I feel something coming on in my head and I want to get out of my head, I can do it,
Oh, yeah.
But if you're feeling good, there's really no reason, unless you're just at a barbecue and you have a beer and a burger or something like that, but you don't want to sit there and binge drink when you feel good, you know what I mean? There's no point. So I'm going to wrap up the show, but I'm going to ask you if you have anything that you want to say or anything before we wrap up the show.
No, thanks for having me out, and please donate.
Absolutely. Well, buddy, I appreciate it. Thanks again. Thanks
you.
for your service, and thanks for being on the show. And we will see you guys next time on Breaking the Stigma.